Alaska, the land of endless night, frozen silence, and secrets buried beneath the ice. Tonight, I'll share 3 true horror stories from the last frontier tales so disturbing, you'll wonder if Alaska is hiding more than wilderness. Stay with us on The Silent Scream, because each one will chill you to the bone. Number 3. Dispatcher Marcus and Dmitry Volo. In the frozen darkness of Alaska, emergency dispatchers are used to receiving strange calls, blizzards stranding hikers, moose crashing through cabins, even hallucinations brought on by seasonal depression. Marcus, a seasoned dispatcher in Anchorage, had handled it all in his 15 years. But on the night of February 14, 2022, he received a call unlike any other, one that still haunted him long after he left the job. At 2:47 a.m., when most of the city was asleep, his console lit up with a crystal-clear connection. That was unusual. Calls from remote areas usually came through with static, hollow satellite echoes or dropped signals. This one sounded as if the caller were speaking from the next room. Marcus introduced himself with the standard greeting. The voice on the line was calm, male, faintly accented with Russian, and the words he chose were deliberate. "My name is Dmitry Volov. I'm calling to report my own death." At first, Marcus thought it was a cruel prank or a man in mental crisis. But as the conversation unfolded, unease grew into terror. Volov explained that he had died 3 days earlier of a heart attack while splitting wood behind his cabin near Titna. His body, he said, still lay in the snow with the axe in hand, preserved by sub-zero temperatures. Wolves and ravens had already begun to take interest. When Marcus asked how he could possibly be on the phone, Volov replied simply, he was not alive, but he could see and speak for now. Marcus checked the system. A welfare request for Volov had already been filed by a worried neighbor. The details matched too perfectly for a prank. Volov even described his own frozen body outside the cabin while speaking from within it, warning he was fading with each passing day, and this was his last chance to call. Marcus kept him talking as troopers braved icy roads. Nearly 40 minutes later, officers reached the blue-roofed cabin. No lights, no smoke. Over the radio came the report. An elderly man lay dead behind the house, frozen for days, axe still in hand. Marcus's heart sank. He glanced at his console. The line was still connected. He called out, but Volov did not respond. Then, faintly, came a sound no living throat could make, wet, rattling breaths like air forced through a collapsed windpipe. The line went dead. Later, Marcus learned that the cabin had no working power and the phone line had been severed months earlier. The number that had appeared on his screen was disconnected, unable to place calls. Yet his system recorded a 37-minute conversation, meticulously documented in his notes. He never shared the full details with his superiors, filing only that an anonymous tip had led to a welfare check. But the notes, 47 pages of them, he kept. 6 months later, unable to shake the experience, Marcus transferred departments. He still wonders how many other voices call from silent wires, reporting deaths that already happened, pleading for help that can never arrive. If a dead man could call to report his own death, would you believe him or hang up the phone? Let me know in the comments, what would you have done if you were Marcus on that line? Number 2. Photographer Isabella Martinez and the Ice Ghosts. Some people chase storms, others chase wildlife migrations. Isabella Martinez chased winter itself. A veteran photographer for National Geographic, she specialized in Alaska's most brutal months, capturing wolves through whiteouts, auroras refracting across glaciers, and caribou herds trudging the tundra. Unlike most photographers who flocked north in summer, Isabella sought out December's deadly cold, believing it revealed deeper truths about the land. In late 2021, she planned a solo expedition to the Wrangell Mountains. Her goal, to document a phenomenon she called ice ghosts, rare crystalline formations sculpted by extreme cold. The location she selected was an abandoned mining camp 60 miles from McCarthy, a desolate place with no cell service and winter temperatures that plunged to -50. Despite warnings from friends, Isabella prepared with meticulous care emergency beacon, 3 weeks provisions, satellite communicator for daily check-ins, and her unmatched determination. The first days went smoothly. Her nightly messages brimmed with excitement. The cabin was sturdy, conditions ideal, photos extraordinary. By the 4th day, however, her updates grew unsettling. She claimed the formations were moving when she wasn't looking, caught shifting positions in time-lapse footage. Soon she declared they weren't ice at all, but something unnatural. They appeared in her photographs even when invisible to her eyes. From day 5 onward, the messages revealed a descent into surreal terror. She described unseen figures multiplying, intruding into her cabin, even manipulating her camera equipment. On the 8th day, she reported photographs of herself sleeping, surrounded by tall, thin shapes. By day 11, her camera had captured hundreds of images of these beings, crystalline humanoids with elongated limbs, crowding the cabin windows, pressing close as she worked. Isabella's fear soon turned to conviction the beings wanted to be seen, and she believed it was her duty to document them. On day 14, she declared she would stay, calling it the most important work of her life. When rescuers arrived 3 days later, they found her catatonic at a table covered in photos. The crystalline figures appeared in every shot, looming over her bed, pressing close to her. Though her body temperature was impossibly low, she was still alive. Weeks later in the hospital, she finally whispered that the beings had followed her, now visible without the camera. Doctors wrote it off as trauma-induced psychosis. But her photographs told another story. Every image showed the figures, indistinguishable from the ice ghosts she had set out to capture. Released after 3 months, Isabella became obsessed with photographing ordinary public spaces, malls, parking lots, coffee shops. Her final exhibition, The Invisible Migration, displayed hundreds of images in which the crystalline beings drifted among oblivious humans. She vanished in September 2022. Her apartment was left filled with thousands of photographs. The last ones showed her bedroom empty of her, but crowded with crystalline figures staring straight into the lens. The police called it a missing person case. Those who knew her suspected otherwise, that she had followed the beings into their hidden spectrum, never to return. Imagine looking at your photos and realizing something was standing right beside you the whole time. Do you think Isabella really captured another species? Or was it all in her mind? Comment below, I want to hear your theory. Number 1. Rashid Hassan and the Cannery. For many, Alaska's fishing industry promises quick money. 6 months of brutal work, enough cash to wipe away debts. That promise lured 24-year-old Rashid Hassan, a recent graduate drowning in student loans. The recruitment poster spoke of adventure and paychecks. The reality was isolation, exhaustion, and secrets hidden behind corrugated steel walls. Rashid's contract took him to Fish Point Cannery, a remote island plant off Kodiak. From the start, something felt wrong. Workers ate in silence, eyes bloodshot, movements mechanical. His bunkmate Eduardo warned, "This place changes people." The first 10 days were grueling but routine. 12-hour shifts gutting salmon in blood, chemicals, and rot. Then Rashid was moved to Processing Unit C, the plant's most secretive wing. There, workers in hazmat suits injected salmon with a clear solution that left the flesh rubbery, translucent, and deeply unnatural. One night, left alone to organize inventory, Rashid opened containers marked with dates years old. To his horror, the fish looked fresh, too fresh. Some twitched faintly, their gills fluttering like they still breathed. Older specimens had grown strange filaments, threads resembling veins or nerves. When Dr. Reeves, the supervisor, caught him, she coldly suggested he consider a permanent position. Eduardo finally confessed the truth. The compound was not only preserving fish but altering the workers. Small doses had been introduced into their food. It healed injuries, erased fatigue, and gradually reshaped them. Long-timers, like the silent men at meals, had injected themselves directly. They no longer aged, no longer slept, but they also no longer seemed human. At first, Rashid resisted the idea, but he soon noticed his own hands, once raw and cracked from the work, were now unblemished. He felt stronger, needing less sleep. His hidden notes reveal his mounting dread, that the compound was making him dependent, binding him to the cannery. To leave meant death, as withdrawal would cause his organs to fail. By week 23, Rashid's handwriting had grown stiff and mechanical. His notes no longer pleaded for escape, but praised the evolution. The company wasn't just preserving fish, it was preserving workers, trading humanity for immortality. Records show he signed a permanent contract after his first season. 5 years later, he's still in Processing Unit C, tireless and unchanged. While the compound spreads to other canneries with government interest in a workforce that never tires, never strikes, never quits. What began as quick money left, Rashid transformed into the perfect laborer, half man, half experiment. Proof that preservation can be worse than death. Would you take a job that promised to make you stronger, faster, and nearly immortal, even if it cost you your humanity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Could you resist? Or would you sign the contract like Rashid? If these stories froze your blood, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more terrifying true tales, and ring the bell so you never miss what's lurking in the dark. And remember, in Alaska, sometimes survival means becoming something you were never meant to be.